You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa! What up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today's gonna be fun because we're doing some music stuff. Oh my God. Today we're talking with a legend, a journeyman that has performed with over 50 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, has appeared in 12 Broadway shows. He's been inducted to the Blues Hall of Fame. I mean, he's a bass player, a music director to the stars, and now author. You may know him as Funkboy. Let me introduce the legend, the journeyman, the one and only Ivan Bodley. What up, kiddo? How you doing?
Hey, man. How are you? Good to see you.
Man, I'm happy to have you on, brother. You know, I'm fired up to talk to someone that's had the journey you've had as a music fan. I'm like floored by your whole experience, and I want people to know because right now you got a new book out too. You know what I mean? That you got out there. It's called "Am I Famous Yet?" Memoir of a Working Class Rock Star. I mean, what a question. Are you? I mean, damn, you got a long journey. How are you not famous yet?
That's what it feels like, you know. It's like I do rock starish kind of things kind of for my day job, you know, and then but I don't get recognized at the grocery store. So I don't think I'm famous yet, but I'm in the game, you know what I'm saying?
So long as you're in the game, bro, you still in play. That's what matters, my brother. So, everybody, he is an amazing musician over here, and I has, of course, that a great book that I just told you guys about, right? It's available on Amazon and stuff like that.
Amazon worldwide, Amazon.com.
There you go. And there are possibly a chance for you to get it autographed, but he doesn't want to go to the post office. Don't bother him like that right now. Come on.
I'll do it for my special friends. If they go to my website, I can give them the autographed copies. But that's there
you go. So, Funkboy, tell us about yourself. Where you from?
Yes, sir. Grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Population 125,000. Ventured forth into the world. My first stop was New Orleans, Louisiana, where I went to college down there, and then got into the music business on the business side. Go ahead. You didn't get out of your hometown until you were in your late teens, college bound? 17 years old, college bound. That was the first time I left home. Exactly right.
Okay, gotcha. But your music journey, this is what I want to know there, though, right? So you're growing up in Tennessee. Yeah. I mean, what were your early influences and kind of who? I always like to know this. Kind of who was putting you on to the stuff?
Dig. All right. So here's the thing. There's a couple of sources it came from. One, my mother had a very hip record collection, man. She was very heavily into Gladys Knight and the Pips, Stevie Wonder. She also had like Ike Tina live at Carnegie Hall.
Say a word.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I grew up listening to these albums. I was very aware of like who King Floyd was and, you know, these sort of like Southern soul stars. She also was into, the Beatles and show tunes. She had some great show tune albums, and she liked greatest hits albums because she knew every song was going to be good on the greatest hits album.
Yeah, I agree. Back in the day as a kid, me too. I'm like, okay, when a Christmas list, I would put some cool albums, but always the greatest hits because you know what, I want all the good ones.
That's right. Yeah, you got to know every song is good if you're going to shell out the money for a full LP vinyl. Back in those days, right?
Oh yeah, they were expensive then, and now even 3 times the value now. God damn.
So, I mean, that set me on the path. I really didn't start playing music until I was a senior in high school. So I was already like a fan and a record collector way before that, so I got into the playing much later.
So how did you get into playing? Did you find a tribe within your town of your music lovers? Or were you kind of by yourself?
Kind of, yeah. I was kind of on my own in a way, because a lot of music practicing is a solitary thing. Like you've got to be by yourself in your room working on your instrument, trying to figure out, how to make it work.
So you wanted to play from the get. You weren't just a listener. Like I want to play too. I need to be involved from early on.
Yeah, somehow I knew I kind of wanted to be in there, but I dabbled with a bunch of instruments that never really took. Like when I was a kid.
What was the first one you tried?
Viola.
Oh, really?
Viola. Didn't take. Why?
Why was that the first choice?
It was elementary school. That's the school band they had. That's the instrument they had available. It's like, you want to play viola? I'm like, yeah, I'll try some music.
Was that really the only one available?
I guess so. I can't imagine. I certainly didn't pick it on my own, And then after that didn't work out. And it was shortly after I took like guitar lessons. I wanted to play sort of, acoustic guitar, and that lasted about
so you took the lessons. Okay, so you're taking the lessons here. Was your family, motivating you, or was it something you did on your own?
Yeah, no, that was all me. Like they're not musical people.
So how were you paying for the lessons?
Well, I guess the parents must have been helping out, at some point, and because the guitar thing didn't really work out. So then I switched to piano, and I'm trying to take piano lessons, and that does not go on anywhere either. I'm like, all right, forget it. And I just kind of put it down for a long time. Said, I'm a fan. I'm a listener. I like to listen, and then sort of through my high school years, I'm not playing anything at all. And I'm seeing things like, I remember seeing Rick James live on television, playing the song You and I. This 4-note bass line goes down, down, down.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm like, hey, wait.
What is that?
I think I can do that. Like, it's 4 notes. It's 4 notes. Like, and there was a kid at school, a friend of mine, who had a bass that had only 2 strings on it. 2 of the strings were broken.
Really? Oh, damn.
So it only had the 2 lowest strings on it, but that was enough to play that Rick James bass line. So I picked it out by ear. I'm like, I could envision myself doing it. So for that, like, I remember for my 17th birthday, my dad said, "What do you want for your birthday?" I said, "Bass lessons. That's what I want. Bass lessons."
Did you say with that very same smile, bro?
Bass lessons. Yeah. And so a friend of mine, my buddy Rick, who I'm friends with to this day, he gave me a lesson for $15 an hour. That was my bass lesson, So,
wow, 15 an hour. And what year are we talking about? I don't want to age you too much.
Oh, you believe me, my life is an open book, literally, since I've written one. That was 1981. It was 40 years ago this year.
Oh, wow.
And I'd saved up money that summer. I washed dishes at a dude ranch in Colorado. I was the dishwasher for 3 meals a day for 100 people. And I saved $425. And I bought a used Fender bass from my pal Rick. And that's what I was taking my lessons on. And I still have that bass to this day.
Beautiful.
And it paid for this house that you see behind me.
Sway word, really.
It took 40 years, but yeah, that was the result.
But you did it, man. So okay, so you when was the first time you decided to kind of, all right, I'm learning how to play bass? When did you find your crew that or even got involved and took a step in, like, yo, if someone's hiring, how did you even get started your journey in it?
Right. Well, immediately, like, I'm at a high school, and there, you find the 5 other kids who also, one plays guitar, one plays drums. Like, let's do a band for the talent show kind of thing, right?
But how did you find that? Was it coincidence, or did you see them play? I mean, how did this all happen? I love knowing the art, that webbing.
Yeah. No, it was a very small school. It was like 100 kids in my class. So we knew who everybody was. I knew the guy who was a guitar player. And I knew the guy who was the drummer. Like, he was also
that small of a town. You said the whole shit is 125K. So your town was like, what, 50 people?
Yeah. The class. The school was tiny, but the town was big. I never really played with any people outside of my high school. But then when I got to New Orleans, that's when I started to get out into the community more.
So when did you hit New Orleans, you said?
That was college. So that was, I moved there
at the 17, 18.
17 years old, sight unseen. All I knew was I needed to be in a bigger town than the one I grew up in. I knew that I needed to be in a more cosmopolitan environment because my mother's family's from New York City. So we would visit every year or so when I was a kid growing up.
It, man. Yeah. Once you're in New York, your soul is going to be much bigger than whatever little tiny town you're in.
Exactly. And there's safety in numbers, so I was a kind of a freaky little kid in Tennessee, in the 70s.
Scaring everybody, bro.
Yeah, I didn't fit in. They knew I didn't fit in. I knew I didn't fit in. That's cool. No problem. But when you come to New York City and
you were the rebel, bro. No, I want to notice it because that's kind of how I felt, because you see how you have these headphones. All right. This is my junior high school life. I lived junior high school with headphones. And when I put this shit down like this, all you would hear is the loudest hip hop or the loudest house music or the loudest heavy metal you heard in your life.
But right
people
now,
are like, what is this dude listening to?
When the cans are on, that means you're not available to talk, right? Like you're in your work, you know, you're listening to, you're on your groove right now, right?
Yeah, yo, you know, that was my back in the day, my New York trip. Those headphones, that's my life, music. That's why I appreciate people like you, because I can't wait till people start hearing who you work with. So let's talk about you getting even acclimated. So talk that.
Getting acclimated, well, just starting out, you know. So like when I moved to New Orleans, right, that's when I started working at the college radio station. So I'm getting into the record collecting, I'm getting into the vinyl, I'm getting into like being aware of what concert promotion is. I'm going to see a lot of live shows. I'm still playing, but you know, I'm in school for not music. I'm in school for like engineering and psychology and that kind of stuff. You know, yeah, exactly. Right.
I know, because you have a VA in psych. Epa, you know, I mean, this man is very smart too, but he ain't just a musician, you know.
But I had to go back to music school later, you know, once, because I got to it late, because I didn't start till I was 17. So by the time I go to college, I'm in no position to say, oh, I want to be a musician full time. I just started playing, you know. So once I started doing that, you know, then I started to like, you know, get some semi-professional gigs in and around New Orleans, you know, from my contacts through the radio station and the concert promotion. So I ended up playing like the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, the big nightclubs in town like Tipitina's and stuff like that. And that was.
But how did you land that? How did you pursue those opportunities?
It's one foot in front of the other. You know, like the first band I was in, I think was a band of other students from the school that I was going to. I'm sure there was something on the bulletin board. You know what I mean? Like it's people that it's everybody that who you know. And then like the biggest quote unquote, you know, name gig that I did in New Orleans, I got to back up Bo Diddley, the rock and roll pioneer. When he came through town.
Out of here.
Because in those days, yeah, three times I got to play with him.
3 times.
He would come to town for a concert with just a guitar, and he would use a pickup band in those days. He would use a pickup band. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
You know, so the only thing you need to know about here was the rehearsal. I can explain to you the rehearsal. You got to know this beat. Dunk, 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 dunk. And that's the Bo Diddley beat, right? Once you know that beat, he plays with an open tuning on his guitar. So if he strums his guitar with no hands on it, it's an open E chord. Okay. Right? If he strums his guitar, if he puts a capo on the 3rd fret, it's a G chord. If he puts a capo on the 5th fret, it's an A chord. End of rehearsal. It's one beat, one chord per song, where he's got the capo, and then you're done. And now he played a 90-minute show. It was the most exciting, fun,
exciting, easy money, and he had a blast.
Amazing. One chord per song. One chord. No chord changes.
Wow. Really? That's it.
That's it.
That's all you did there. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I love it.
He was a great performer. He was a showman. You know, he was a showman. He was about show business. He knew how to entertain people. Bro. So you
hear this, folks? He played like that legend that started the game, son. I mean, listen. You know, I need to. I don't want to get in my broom and dustpan, but just start telling us just a little bit. What was some of the favorite as you were rising up in your journey? How did you keep connecting? And then how did you even start working with the amazing bands you work with?
Right. Okay. So after I graduated college, I went into the music business on the business side as a publicity person, you know, so I was working for Epic Records.
Okay. How did you get that Epic Records job?
That was because that came from the campus radio station I was on, because I was talking to the national reps for the station, because they're promoting their records. I'm playing their records. You get to know the people. When I graduated, I moved to New York, and I'm looking for a job, and I'm knocking on doors. Hey, can I work for you? Can I come make coffee? Can I make copies? What do you need? Right?
Back in the day, before Instagram and resumes and LinkedIn and all that stuff.
That's way before LinkedIn. You had to show up, and you had to know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, you know, and I knew somebody, you know, from my college radio days.
Oh, awesome.
And there was an office assistant, a guy literally making copies in the publicity department. And I said, I can answer phones and I can make copies, and I'll do that. So I got that, and I started, you know, I got promoted within that company, and I became a manager of West Coast publicity. I had a corporate Amex card. I was like a little junior executive, the whole thing.
Wepa.
Right?
Nice.
But it's the music business. It's a marketing company. You know, what they're doing is they're selling product. You know, it had nothing to do with
the day. Yes,
it had nothing to do with music promotion,
with
music
creation. Brand, whether it's someone's brand or music,
100%.
Whatever it is, it's a product.
100%. And the head of product development told me, he said to me to my face, that I don't know anything about music. I could be selling soap. What he knew was marketing. So he created Gloria Estefan, you know, as a brand. Like he promoted these huge artists. He created Michael Jackson. He created, you know, Tina Marie, like these huge campaigns for these platinum selling artists. He was the guy behind all that stuff. And I said, that's great, but that's not what I want to do. I want to create. I want to play. So I quit my job, turned in my Amex card, go ahead.
How long were you working with him before you quit? That's crazy.
3 years. 3 years I was there.
So after 3 years, you said enough is enough. I really want to get. You know what? That's really brave, especially in that era.
It was hard. It was hard.
In that era, yeah, bro.
You're giving up an expense account. You're giving up health insurance. You're giving up financial stability, you know, a guaranteed income.
Bro.
And what I realized.
Folks, I want you guys to understand, this is pre-internet days. Like, like he's going to quit, and there's like no other way for him to really outsource himself, you know, in a very public way like we can now.
Right. It was 1989, bro. That's when I quit. Shit. I walked away from the whole thing, you know?
Wow.
And what I came to was a realization. Is like, there's only one thing I really want to do, which was play music. And it was kind of like, oh man, this like, it was kind of a sad thing because I realized like, there's no guarantee of success. It's a very difficult career to get into. There's a lot of people who want to get there, and there are very few opportunities. So there's no guarantees of anything. But I decided I had to give it a try. So once I came to that realization, it was kind of an awful realization. I said, all right, now I need to go fill in the gaps, because I've been taking, you know, bass lessons and I've been learning by ear all this time. But now I really need to go to music school to fill in the gaps of what I need to do.
How old were you when you went to music school?
26.
Oh wow! So that's much.
Late.
See, folks, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, Rodney Dangerfield made it when he was in his 40s.
Yeah,
finally.
That's right.
But you know, and you know what though? Even at 26, while you know you may deem it old, it's not really old. But for music, it may be old.
It's old. It's old. You're past your pop star days.
And a shout out to ASAP Comics. And he goes, "That's awesome. Walk your own path."
Right. Cool. There, thanks, man. Thanks. That's cool. So I went to school, you know, and hoping for the best. And then I came back to New York City and started from square one. Started over. So
how did you know to go to New York City, though? What was it about it?
I always dug it here. You know, this town was always felt like my tempo. You know, growing up, when I would come visit here, when I would walk down St. Mark's Place.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? You see all the freaks, all the punks.
Oh, bro, and you could get the cool gear there, yo. The illest t-shirts, the illest wristbands,
the wristband, right,
tattoos, comic books. I mean, that one block, pizza,
right,
whatever you want. That one block had it all.
I was ready to move to the city based on that one block. Like, I could live here on St. Mark's and I'm cool. I fit in. Like in Chattanooga, not so much, but in St. Mark's Place, I'm just another face in the crowd. Like,
brother, I was there every other weekend buying gear. Yes. I know you. I understand you. My brother was going there religiously to that shop, the heavy metal shop there with all the clothes.
Yeah, of course.
I think the owner or at least the lead salesman died a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Trash and Vaudeville.
Yeah, Trash and Vaudeville. Yes. And the gentleman passed away.
Yes.
Yo, my brother cried like that was family.
I know.
You understand.
Of course. No, he was a pillar in the community, man. He knew everybody. He put everybody together. He dressed Blondie. He dressed Iggy Pop. He dressed everybody. You know, he was
wasn't amazing. That crazy? I mean, and this is one small neighborhood in New York, folks. And people don't understand unless they live there. And I'm so happy you brought that up, because I had the honor of being there. I call it an honor because, you know how many famous people walk that fucking sidewalk?
Yes. And I would buy like the little skinny satin ties and all the new wave gear.
And
the wristbands. All that.
You still got them?
Of course. I got all that stuff. You know, so like I knew that New York was kind of where I wanted to be. Like the music that I liked was coming from here. The tempo of the city I liked. The St. Mark's I liked the pizza. You know, I brought my first motorcycle jacket on St. Mark's Place. You know, years ago.
Nice.
And I had a plan. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play on the David Letterman show. I'm going to play on the Jay Leno show. I'm going to play on Saturday Night Live, and I'm going to work at Madison Square Garden. And after a 30-year career, you know how many of those things have happened? 0, not one.
Oh, shit. Stop lying, bro.
Not one of those things happen. Like, you have all these plans and dreams and goals and aspirations, but then other things happen. You know, like I've played arenas, just not Madison Square Garden. I played Carnegie Hall. I've done late night TV shows, just not Letterman, before he retired. So
it's like all right. You know what? Now you can either get Kimmel or Fallon.
Right.
And you know what? Because listen, after they read this, I know Fallon. Yo, come on, folks, help me out here. Jimmy Fallon is a music fan. I think he's gonna love this and put you on, because when people start learning about just your journey, bro. Again, you've worked with amazing people. Now, you said something funny. It's like, well, it wasn't too long. It don't matter. It don't matter. The fact that you work with the Temptations, Percy Sledge, Eddie Floyd, Rufus and Carla Thomas, like you said, Buster Poindexter, Uptown Halls, Paul Rogers, Winona Judd. I mean, what a different randomness of circles here, but you've been around.
And when the Shirelles, I've been working with the Shirelles on and off.
Shirelles, oh my God.
But almost 30 years I know them. So some of them
How did you even meet them?
Everything is some weird coincidence. Always one foot in front of the other.
Okay.
So check this out.
Wait, before you continue, I just want to bring.
Go ahead.
This comes from the comic book world. The great Jim Steranko, amazing artist. He says, people of like mind will always connect, and I call that psychomagnetism. Yes. That's what that is.
Exactly related to what I'm saying, because it's like, one foot in front of the other. This person knows that person. So when I got back to New York, I'm a temp secretary, and I'm typing resumes for the people at the
secretary. Fucking hear this?
Check this out. I'm typing resumes for the people that the phone company are laying off. That's the job I had. And I did that temp job for 3 years.
You're with the fucking Blue Letterman, bro. Oh my God.
It was what a karma job that was. You know what I'm saying? So, and then a friend of mine from New Orleans, this is how it happened. Her cousin lived in New York, and her cousin was dating the guy who was like the music director of the Shirelles at the time. The Shirelles needed, my friend's cousin told a guy that I just graduated from music school. They needed a bass player to come do a job that was up in Massachusetts. It was going to be 5 hours in the van, play a job, and then 5 hours straight back. It was like a long production day. They needed somebody who could play at all to cover this thing. So he came to see me. I was playing a $50 blues gig at the Ear Inn on Spring Street, right? And he had an envelope in his hand. And it was a manila envelope. It had in a normal bias cassette tape of the show, of the live show, and copies of the charts. And basically, he was looking at me and thinking, like, if this guy can play at all, he's got the job, right? Ooh. So, and apparently I could play at all. So he handed me the envelope and said, "Here, learn all this stuff. The van leaves next week from 40th and 9th."
What?
That's what happened. That's what happened. Now, but this is the thing, though. There are a lot of times you get an opportunity like that, or something, something random comes across the doorstep, right? The trick is, can you get called back for a second one? Okay. In other words, do you have the skill sets that they need to do an adequate enough job to prepare yourself
to be a return?
Right. Be a return customer. So by that, but I think I had a week to learn the show, and I learned it. I spent time on it. So when I got there,
you didn't sleep, right?
Right. I just, I worked on it a couple of hours every single day. So when I got there, there was no rehearsal. You just show up and, they count off the first song and you got to know it, So I came in like sight unseen. They'd never seen me before. And I played the show verbatim the way I had the charts in front of me, and I had the cassette that I learned it from. So the drummer in that show saw me do that. And he's like, okay, this guy, he's a homework guy. Like, I like the way he plays, but he also, he knew that I prepared, that I did my homework. So he was also the drummer for another band called the Uptown Horns.
Okay.
The Uptown Horns are the horn section, just the four of them, on the Rolling Stones Steel Wheels tour, B-52's Love Shack, Cameo, Word Up, Tom Waits' Rain Dog. They played with 1 million people.
Say word.
Heavy,
wow.
Right? He was the drummer in that band. They needed a bass player last minute, right? To do a job.
And they called Funkboy.
They called me. And it's the same thing. So they gave me a normal bias cassette tape, right? You used to get the 99-cent store, you know, 5 for $1, whatever those things were, right? They sounded awful. But it was like, here, learn this material and be ready. You have a week to do it. We did one rehearsal, and then, you know, I've been working with them, and that's been since, that was 94 when I met them. I've been working with them ever since. And that, because that band, because they were so good, anytime when all these R&B artists would come through New York, they would use that band as a local band. So through them, I met Sam Moore from Sam and Dave, Percy Sledge, Rufus and Carla Thomas, Solomon Burke, and Peebles. Like all those artists would come and use the Uptown Horns band when they came through New York.
Wow.
So that's
how does that even happen though? Like how does a band become the go-to kind of pickup band? Like what is this?
Right. Well, those guys, the Uptown Horns, started their own jam session at the old nightclub Tramps. So they had a week, like I think it was like a Monday night, they would have an open jam session. So they got known around town. They got publicity. They got write-ups in the paper. So that started. They started playing behind Buster Poindexter, if you remember Buster, right? Hot,
yeah, hot. Of course.
They're the horn section on that. So they got this reputation. They did all this groundwork. I just came. I was the new guy. I'm like, hey, fellas, let me play. You know, I got to benefit from their, you know, their career acumen up to that point. So that's why they became, you know, standard band to use in New York through all of their hard work. And again, I just happened to come in at the right time and be the, you know, the right guy for the job.
Gotcha. So I want to talk about this book, man, you know, because you got this awesome book out, right, that I've been kind of sharing right there, right? The famous Memoir of a Working Class Rock. So let's talk about that a bit, man. When did you start wanting to, you know, go to that, you know, endeavor where you're now a writer about your journey?
It was always part of what I did, writing. When I was working for the record company as a publicist, I was writing some of the artists' bios and the press releases and some of the liner notes for some.
That was you? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Some of those things, some of those, not all of them, but you know, when I was there. So like my pal Stanley Clark, I wrote the liner notes for one of his albums in the 80s. So it was always, and I would write occasionally freelance for a magazine or a music review or something like that, you know, over the years, you know, occasionally would do the writing, never totally serious, always like a professional hobby, not as like my full-time kind of thing. So, you know, a few years ago, I would, you know, be telling road stories backstage when we were between sound check and a show. And people were constantly telling me like, dude, you need to write a book. You need to write this stuff down.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, your shit. I'm like, God damn, you better have a book.
It's a lot of stories. It's a lot of stories. And I, you know, I just really scratched the surface with this book. But, you know, so I started writing it down probably about 4 years ago and got most of it done, you know, and kind of sort of getting it into shape. And then, you know, whatever, a year and a half ago, when the world shut down, suddenly I had time to really finish it, you know, get it copy edited, make sure the whole thing was put together, get it up on Amazon, all that thing. So it was in part a pandemic project, but it had really been mostly finished before then. But that's sort of what got it finished, you know, was having the time on my hands.
So let me ask you, so is that how you dealt with that during the pandemic? You just were able to, you know, sit yourself down and write the book? Was this done during the pandemic or was it done prior?
Most of it was done prior, but I finished it during the pandemic. So yeah, so what I did was suddenly, because I average 5 gigs a week average.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
Like, that's kind of what I do. So I'm usually
5 gigs a week, bro.
Yeah.
So, wait. I want people to know this, especially musicians. So especially if somebody with, you know, a journeyman like this homie right here. Like, so what's that, you know, hour-wise in a week?
Oh, you don't want to do the hourly rate. You don't want to do it because I've done it before. I'm like, you know, between the travel and the prep time and the, you know, and the sound check time and the report time, you know, like if I do it hourly, I am working for less than minimum wage, you know, but
oh shit. Wow.
But if you do it over time, you know, like it's hard to say like what, you know, I'm like, for instance, this week this week, for instance, I'm learning to play the show Jersey Boys, the Broadway show. It's actually running off Broadway right now. So,
how did you get on Broadway too, man? That's another thing. Cause bro, people again, listen to this guy's journey. A boy from Chattanooga, Tennessee, has decided to get out of town at 17 and has had this amazing journey in music, playing with legendary people, and now he's also, you know, not just an author, but, you know, a Broadway person. How's that? How did you even do that?
That was a whole other story. That kind of came to find me in a way. Like I'd been in New York working for 15, 20 years almost, really, playing professionally, playing all these R&B gigs we were just talking about, you know, with the Uptown Horns and all those guys. Also playing weddings, funerals, and bar mitzvahs to pay the rent, you know, like I'm working.
Funerals, that's depressing. God damn.
Yeah. Hey, man, a gig is a gig. That's what we say, right?
A check is a check, bro. So long as that dude's signature can still get through, I'm good.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I'm playing at the bitter end one Monday night, and I'm playing in the house band of a jam session band. It was like an open mic. People could come in and sing with the band kind of thing. And when I got off the stage on a break, there was another bass player coming. A friend of mine who I just met this guy, a cat named Winston Roy, good guy, was at the bar, and he said, hey, man, would you ever be interested in subbing on a Broadway show? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he was the bass player in the Broadway show Rock of Ages.
Oh, shit. What?
Yeah, that was his gig. And, you know, the way those...
And he randomly just spoke to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'd met him once before, so we knew each other, you know, by sight. We'd met before, but that was the first time he'd seen me play, right?
Oh,
so wow. Rock of Ages
impressed the shit out of him, kid.
Well, it was like Rock of Ages is like an 80s hair metal musical, right?
Bro, let me just remove my hat for a moment. I mean, bro,
yeah.
Look at this mess right here, right. Bro. It's not as pretty as yours with that Fabio look, but you know.
But the music for that show is all like Whitesnake and Poison and Twisted Sister and Pat Benatar, that kind of thing, you know. It was a Broadway show.
Good shit, yeah.
But so he asked me like, would I be interested in doing it? And that show, the musicians are all on stage. The entire book is memorized. We're in costume. We're in makeup. We have stage business to do as well as having to memorize the whole show. And it appealed to me. Like, it sounded like a real challenge to learn that thing. And then once you're in the Broadway thing, just playing any Broadway show, then suddenly you meet the other guys in the other shows, and one by one, you start subbing on this show, subbing on that show. So yeah, now awesome. In a dozen years, it's become a dozen shows. So, and I'm learning a new one. I'm learning Jersey Boys right now. I'm subbing on Ancient Crowd, the Temptations musical. I'm subbing on that one. And
how do you feel though? Did you expect this in your journey to kind of do things like this?
Not really, because I told you my plan, my 4-point plan, right? None of those things happened. So
don't you love it? People make a plan, no matter what, it will not happen. It will be something totally fucking different, but it will still be in the lane that you want.
Totally different, but there's no way to anticipate.
But it's still in the lane you wanted, though.
Of course. Being a performing musician, that was definitely the goal, but I had no way of knowing what was going to lead to what, because then the Shirelles led to the Tokens, which led to the Drifters, which led to, all that, which led to the Uptown Horns, so but there's no way to predict that, there's no way to plan for that.
So let me ask you though, as you're writing the book, did you know how to kind of like write a book, or is this something you had to kind of learn how to do?
I mean, kind of. Like I said, I'd written quite a bit before, but shorter pieces. Like a liner notes or a biography is like a couple of pages at a time. So,
Wikipedia is one thing, but a fucking 100 and something plus book, right?
yeah, it's a different endeavor. So I started just writing stories, like individual stories. Okay. And then. As I'm telling,
how did you write them though? I mean, were you writing them as they were happening? Had a journal, or is this something you sat down and kind of were reflecting on your memory?
Yeah, my memory is very weird and selective. Like I'll claim that I don't remember anything, but when you say
you're a rock star, bro. I won't go any further than that.
But here's what I'm saying. Like, here's how my mind works. So I'm looking at your hat right now, and it's got yellow and black stripes on it in the logo on your hat, right?
Yeah, my comic crew, baby.
Right. So that reminds me of a band that I saw in 1984 called Striper, right? Right. And they were a Christian rock band that wore yellow and black stripes. Now, there's no possible way that I would, if somebody said, how many Christian rock bands have you seen? I'd be like, none. But because I have this association, like, so I see something like your stripes on your hat, and that reminds me of, it evokes a memory. So that's what happened with the book. Like, I would start writing a story and like, oh wait, that reminds me of this other thing. oh wait, that reminds me of this other thing.
Oh wow!
And then as you're telling
the
story,
memories started pouring out through your hands.
That's right. And also as you're telling a story, you know, I said, well, I was playing a wedding on Long Island. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Now I have to explain how that works. How do you come to play a wedding on Long Island?
How do you come to play a wedding on Long Island?
Right. So there's like, you know, there are offices that send out, they put together wedding bands. That's what they do. They're called club date offices, and they send
club date. I never heard of this.
Yeah, they mean like country clubs, that kind of thing. Okay. So you're playing these private function bands, and they'll put together any 9 people, any 10 people that may have never met before. But you know, you've got to play My Girl, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, you know, all the I Want to Dance with Somebody. Like, you know the standard repertoire, and you go in and you meet the band on stage. They really
understand the repertoire as a journeyman?
Yes, really? yes. There's, wow. You know, you're going to play I Will Survive almost every wedding.
Every time. Know, oh, bro, no wonder, boy. That's why you look the way you do. Like, I'm gonna survive, but if I gotta keep playing this motherfucker.
Well, it's funny too, because a lot of people say, "Oh man, I'm so tired of that song." And I'm going like, "Not me." You know why? I mean, besides the fact that it pays my bills now, but I toured with Gloria Gaynor. I played with her.
Really?
I was her bass player for 2 years. Yeah. So
what? Oh my God.
And okay. I even conducted her band a couple of times. Yeah. So like
I got a note here. You know,
that song paid my rent. You know, it's like I love that song.
I love it too, then, bro. Let me tell you what was the most amazing experience you've had thus far in your journey?
Oh man, there's so many good ones. But I actually detail like the second chapter of the book. I think is talking about a concert that I played in Tokyo, Japan.
You went to Tokyo. Nice.
Yeah, we went all the way to Tokyo, man. Like, you're seeing the world on somebody else's dime. This is great.
I know, man, because apparently you've been to like over 29 countries, kid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My passport is always current, because you never know, the phone could ring. And
that passport is full. Like every year, even in the current year, he has to get a new one because he travels so much.
I had to get extra pages a couple of times. Yeah, you have to go like send it. Yes, you send it to the State Department. They tape extra pages into it so that you can
tape extra pages. Get the fuck out of here.
Looks like a kid did it in 4th grade, man. It's it's the most janky thing.
Shit. I love it.
It's the most janky thing you've ever seen, and it's like, yeah,
there's America's government for you. Put some.
I'm telling you, man, so professional. And this day and age, when everything is on the computer, you still got to stamp that stupid book to get into the country, you know. But I was playing with Sam Moore from Sam and Day, the guy who sang "I'm a Soul Man," "Hold On, I'm Coming," you know, those were his big hits from the '60s, right?
Say word.
I was his conductor. I was his music director, and we were playing the Tokyo Jazz Fest. This is 2009, I think.
Tokyo Jazz Fest.
Yeah, so we're in a huge theater. There's like 5,000 people in this theater. Ooh. It's being filmed. It's live on national television in Japan. We have a 15-piece band. The place is jumping. The whole place is going boom, 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 and you can feel it. Like the band's on fire. Sam is on fire.
Godzilla was in the house.
I'm telling you, man, he was working the room. Japanese people are typically very reserved. You know, they're not very emotional kind of people.
Not when they see you or Wu-Tang.
Right. Well, it wasn't me. It was Sam. So Sam is out there working the crowd. These people are crying. They're like openly weeping, you know, listening to him sing soul music. So I knew as we were playing, I said, this concert is big. It's right. Everything is going exactly right. It's connecting with people. It's being filmed. It's being broadcast. You know, like I knew it was going to be major as we were doing it. You could feel it, you know. Wonderful. And that was like one of my peak shows, I think, you know.
Crazy. Wow.
And then right after us, Sly and the Family Stone played. Right after us, you know, like.
Oh man. Look, you hear this, people? Do you hear this guy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to pull out my broom because it's just amazing. I want to keep these names all around. It's amazing. Like, I can't believe the journey, bro, that you've had and just to write this book. I mean, you know, I don't want to keep you too long, but just write about why the book. What was the necessity for you to kind of share this story?
Well, a couple of things. One, because there are so many interesting stories that were constantly entertaining my friends and was saying, like, so you got to write this down. So I was getting that sort of, you know, encouragement from people like, you got to write this down.
Then two, those are real friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And then two, you know, as a creative person, you know, like you want to sort of document your experience. So that's why you would put out albums or CDs or MP3s or whatever. You like record what you're doing, your skill set. And part of my skill set, like I say, was being a writer as a kid. So I said, all right, well, maybe, and I had some friends. I have some friends of mine who are musicians who are also writers. So they put together books. And there's something about physically when you hold the book in your hand, like this is a thing that somebody made, like they wrote all these materials, but then they also got it pressed and printed and shipped and the whole thing. So I became aware that was something that I could physically do it, and especially now through the way Amazon is set up, you can do it. You can absolutely publish your own book. So I did it. I wanted to have a souvenir on the bookshelf for myself as much as for anything else.
How long did it take you to write the bad boy? And what was the learning curve, to do a book as opposed to writing a music song or learning music? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it took a few months, I think, to really, sit down like every day and write for an hour or something, and then come back in another day and write another story. And then over time, it doesn't take that long. You start realizing, you start amassing pages, like it starts building up. It's like The Longest Journey starts with a single step, that kind of thing. Yeah. And again, sort of, I had some confidence thinking that, I know how to write. I know how to write in English. I'm okay. So then I gave it to my aunt. My aunt was a copy editor for Time magazine for 20 years, right?
So Titi is going to be mad honest because she's your her nephew, and she is going to be like, let me pull out this red pen real quick.
Titi brought out the red pen. It came back with so much red ink on it. I was like, oh, no. I thought I could write in English.
But that's family, though. That's real family. That's real family, though.
She's a professional. She's a top-level, world-class
professional. That's real family.
In that game, back, right?
Fix this shit.
Fix it. Like, you fix this. And I was like, yeah, sorry. I didn't know. I didn't. So I thought I had something going. But you know what? I think that's
you were lucky to have that, my brother, because imagine, not many people have somebody that is acclimated like that.
Yes.
Knows how to edit and could say, like, listen, if you really want this to work, change this.
I had a couple of good. I had another friend of mine, my friend Dr. Jeff. He's a writer, and he gave me some good advice. He's the one who told me put in the chapter about Sam Moore.
The other Dr. J. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So he was, because most of my stories are kind of like where things kind of go wrong. Like, if something's going wrong, which kind of makes it into an interesting or funny story. He said, what happens when it goes right? I was like, oh, that's interesting. So that's why I wanted to start the book of like what happens when everything is going right.
How dare you put that in my brain?
Right. But I had, people like that who are smarter than me, more experienced than me, telling me like, yeah, you need to also add this, you need to fix this.
And you always really gotta share the good because at the end of the day, like I've had my struggles personally, but I've been blessed.
Yeah.
Like, and when I had a chance to sit down with people like you and listen to your story, it's like, yo, I have so much time still.
Yeah.
Don't let this gray hair fool you. This is stress.
Yeah. I'm feeling. I got some. I'm getting there.
Nah, bro. Look, listen. That's what I hate. Look at my top compared to my body. This is salt and pepper, but this is goddamn salt.
It's just salt. Hey, man, we're in show business. We can buy hair dye if we need to. That's what I learned.
Wifey tells me that. I'm like, nah, Mom, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Let it fly, man. I got the.
Let it fly. Exactly. Free like a bird, motherfucker.
I got the salt and pepper right there.
No, right that's how my middle brother does his beard, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's why I feel this connection. But I had this great energy with you. So.
It's show business, man. It's show business. You do what you need to do to present yourself the way you think you need to be presented. And if you
but you rock, though. I mean, your journey is amazing. I mean, you've done a lot of Costello. I mean, goddamn, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep dropping these names, but
my hero. I'm meeting my heroes. I'm a fan too. I was a fan of Elvis's before I ever played the bass.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I can't imagine. It's like you've just fallen into things.
Yeah. It took me 30 years to fall into it, but I fell into it.
But you keep though. I mean, but now you have a journey where you can share with people about your experiences, everything you've gone through. Because again, there's a lot of people in the music industry, especially in this day and age. I mean, the internet could blow you up, but at the end of the day, you're still a journeyman because there's A, B, N, C, N, D, N, E, N, F now.
Yes, you have to be able to back it up. Whatever you go viral for, that's great. But now, what are you going to do next?
Exactly. Are you going to collaborate? Right. Are you going to collaborate? Are you going to build? Are you going to do something?
That's right. And that's been my whole career. Has been that. My whole career has been doing.
So
that.
Talk about that. That's the last thing I want to leave us with here today. Like as a journeyman, as a musician, an author, a person that's going. I'm gonna actually after this I got one more, but I want. I have a funny one.
All right.
It's probably gonna be like shit. I don't know, but what's the greatest advice you would give someone right now that's also trying to jump into the journey, whether it's in music or being an author?
Yeah. All right. Here's my advice. If you can do anything else, do that. This is the most heartbreaking, difficult mountain to climb that you can possibly imagine. You're going to face rejection after rejection after rejection. If you, like me, you had no choice. I have no choice. I have to do this. This is what I've got to do. Now, what you got to do is get your stuff together. Make sure your skills are in order. Make sure your organization is in order. Because what I'm telling you, what I said before is you're going to get these opportunities and they're great, and you may get to walk through the door once. Are you going to be able to get called back? Are they going to be able to have a repeat performance? You got to show up with the goods when the opportunity knocks. You have to be able to have the follow through to do that.
Show up.
But show up and know what you're doing. Have the skills. Have your skills in order. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. Because that's
learn your craft.
A lot of people want to do things, but they're not fully acclimated in what they feel they know. And,
learn your craft.
Listen, every day I still learn.
Yeah, of course, we all do. And it doesn't mean you don't have to go to college for this stuff. You can study on your own. You can study it on YouTube. You can study, but you got to practice. If you're drawing figures, you have to practice.
I love it, brother. You're so right with that. I mean, exactly. If you want to learn how to play bass, you got to practice.
You got to practice.
You want to play guitar, practice.
Yeah.
Play piano, practice.
Yeah.
Don't just hire somebody and waste people's money like Homie did. Right. Get to that bass. He found it late, but when he found it, this motherfucker kick ass.
It spoke to me. So I said, all right, let me use this.
You know what,
make this my voice.
And you make me laugh here. This is where I kind of want to leave it at. It's because I also always wanted to learn. But just like you, bass talks to me.
Okay.
Like I'm about to pick up a goddamn bass guitar, and I think you kind of convinced me. Like, if you feel it in your soul, just do it.
Yeah.
100%. And then the very last is if this book that you have out right now could be a movie, who would you want to play you?
Tilda Swinton. We're going non-binary on this thing, man. We're breaking all the rules.
Get a good motherfucking story done. She is a great actress, though.
That's what I'm saying. Get a pro in there. Get a pro.
Hey, listen. If Marshall Rodriguez in that movie she did could wear a dick, why can't
I'm telling you. The world it's wide open now. Anybody can do anything.
Why not? I like it. Yeah. You heard it here first. Producers, directors, hit up the big homie Ivan right here, Funkboy. Tilda. If you're looking for work, right here.
I got a screenplay for you.
Epa, bro, I love it. So, Funkboy, you've been an amazing guest. I love it. Everybody, please go to Color Red Records. Check out the music, right? Cheers. And then I need you to go to Amazon.
Yes.
If you're interested in just, you already heard, and the book is going to just clarify more of this. We've only been teasing you. All right. So go to My Famous Memoir of a Working Class Rock Star.
Yes.
I love it, which is true. And you know what? Check out the website. Get tuned in to everything Ivan is doing.
Links for everything there. Amazon, everything's linked from there. All my socials, everything's there.
Everything's there. So if you want to stalk him on social media, if you want to purchase his book, if you want to buy his T-shirts, this is where you go.
It's all there.
I love it. Ivan, thank you again for reaching out via Pod Match. A big shout out to Alex from over there, the other Al.
Right.
That's kicking it on Pod Match, folks. If you're podcasters or people that are just looking to be interviewed, in the game, Pod Match is amazing. That's how I met Funkboy right here. He reached out to me. He's like, yo, you want to talk to me? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. How dare you even ask?
Pod Match introduced me to my new friend Al Mega.
Yeah. So you know you got a home here. folks, please support the extended family. That's what he is now.
Appreciate that, man.
So show it up. You know that my outro tells you what to do. Thank you for tuning in today. And hasta la próxima. Much love, mi gente.
Peace, bye. Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.